Okay, let's talk the rules of professional conduct and the code of judicial conduct, uh, which gives you your constitutional right to effective assistance of counsel in the United States Constitution. Okay, so this applies in every court, no matter what court you're in. Okay, so we're gonna go. I'm gonna show you because a lot of times people ask me questions, and I didn't know the internet worked this way. Let's see, because there's a lot of stuff I ask the internet. I mean, I know this stuff, but it's not like I'm in the library, you know. Okay, rules, professional conduct. Okay, I go to the American Bar Association a lot, okay, because that is the model rules of professional conduct, okay, are a set of guidelines that define the ethical and professional standards for U.S. lawyers across the United States. Adopted in 1983, the MRPC replaced the 1969 Model Rules of Professional Responsibility. While not binding with the MRPC, have served as a model for most jurisdictions, with 49 states and the District of Columbia adopting some of the rules. Okay, so the model rules of professional conduct. Okay, so I usually go to that a lot. We'll get back to that. But sometimes people ask me about different states. I'm in Illinois. So, look at it. Okay. Uh, um, let's say 8. Hawaii. See. And the easiest way to beat them, anybody in court, is nobody plays by the rules and the codes. Easy peasy. So when you file a complaint under deprivation of rights under the color of law, this is what you're saying. Nobody did their job. Okay? And these are the legal responsibilities of all lawyers and judges. People want me to sign petitions. I'm about getting things done legally. Rules of professional conduct, Ireland. That's pretty cool, right? Solicitor's Guide to Professional Conduct. I did that by mistake, and it works out pretty well. Okay, now if you want to file a complaint, I gotta move that button. Pretty good to know, isn't it? See, what you got to understand is democracy is the same everywhere. When it comes to a free country, the rule of law, this is democracy, okay? So a threat to democracy anywhere is a threat to democracy everywhere. So, I mean, we really need to get, like, not just people in the United States, but somebody asked me about this before I started legal reform. And then once I got the hang of the internet, I'm an old guy, I'm a boomer. My first, let's say, near electronic device was a calculator, but it was actually called an abacus. Ask a boomer or look it up, abacus. Okay, so when you read the rules of professional conduct, you'll find out don't nobody do none of that. No matter what country you're in, code of judicial conduct. Look, watch. Let's go to Indiana. Okay. Which is similar or should be close to the model rule or the model codes of judicial conduct, which you'll find on the ABA website. Some states have a tendency of, let's say, leaving things out. So if there's anything I talk about and you don't see it in your state, then you might want to refer to the ABA and use what's there. Okay, in the public interest, of course. This is how we maintain the public trust, which is in the preamble. It's a legal mandate to do what's in the public interest and maintain the public trust. Okay, so I know there's a lot of you. Okay, so we're gonna go to public trust real quick. Public trust broadly refers to the idea that certain resources, institutions, or positions are held in confidence and managed for the benefit of the general public. Okay, it encompasses the public trust in the government, institution, and individuals to act responsibly and ethically in the execution of their duties and management of shared resources. Key aspect of the public trust doctrine, the legal principle that dedicates certain natural and cultural resources like navigable waters, wildlife, and land, and held in trust by the government for the benefit of the public. They took an oath to do this, all right? All your public servants, these are their constitutional duties, okay? So we're going to get into the public trust doctrine in a little bit because there's more to it than you think. Public trust positions, certain roles with government or organizations require a high degree of trust and ethical conduct. Remember, you can file ethics violations. Just look up where to file ethic violations for whatever it is that you're involved in. Often necessitating background checks and security clearances. See, yeah, I mean, I had to go through that all my life, and here it is, my public servants don't have to. No. Okay, public trust in government, that refers to a level of confidence the public has in its government to act in their best interests. Remember, it's a legal requirement to act in the public's best interest for the greater good. The need of the many, the public as a whole. Sound decisions, make sound decisions, and be accountable. Okay, so look at that see that little mark there? Okay, so there's things you're having issues with. You're going to want to look up, okay? Public trust institutions. Yeah, I just stated that. Public trust and accountability. Public trust requires transparency. This is for all your public servants. Public trust and accountability. Public trust requires transparency, ethical behavior, and a commitment to serving the public good. You, all of you, all of you. They're lords and masters. You want to get mad at somebody and go yell at them and, do it to your servants, not to your neighbors. All right, it's your servants are the ones that are betraying the public trust. And they're getting you guys to fight over their issues. No. How about we just get constitutionally correct? Examples for the public trust, and these are being diminished as we speak. Managing natural resources. Governments are expected to protect and maintain resources like navigable waterways for public use. Museums and cultural institutions. Their budgets are being cut disastrously. Museums are considered public trusts. Remember, that's part of your public trust fund. Museums, libraries, the public school system, everything in healthcare, that's part of your public trust. Museums are considered public trusts holding collections and information for the benefit of the public. Government service, individuals in the public trust positions, e.g., elected officials. Once again, elected officials, civil servants are entrusted with the responsibility of serving the public good. See, so if you're in a democracy, hey, let's do this, okay? Remember, in any constitutional republic, it's contingent on its laws. What's in the public trust. And, our laws, the rule of law is based on democracy. And that goes back hundreds of years. Charitable trusts. These trusts are established to benefit the public through charitable purpose like education, poverty relief, or religious support. Importance of the public trust. Effective governance. Public trust is crucial for the functioning of democratic societies, enabling governments to implement policies and laws effectively. Social cohesion, unity. High levels of public trust foster social cohesion and cooperation, while low trust can lead to social unrest and political instability. Economic prosperity. Public trust can influence economic activity as businesses are more likely to invest and operate in societies where they can trust the government and institutions. Okay, so we're going to go to the public trust doctrine, okay? It's right here, if you don't mind. Okay, the public trust doctrine is a legal principle. Public trust doctrine is a legal principle establishing that certain natural and cultural resources are preserved for the public use. Natural resources held in trust can include navigable waters, wildlife, or land. The public is considered the owner of the resources, and the government protects and maintains these resources for public use. Once again, the government protects and maintains these resources for public use. Protects, not dismantle and sell off. We did not give informed consent. Nor, what's that called? Power of attorney. We gave no informed consent, and we gave no power of attorney to sell off these public lands. Okay, the doctrine is most frequently used in the context of water bodies throughout the United States. Most lakes and streams are maintained under the public trust doctrine. Okay, so you eco nuts, this is where you go. Ecology nuts, people that want to, safer future, less pollution. Typically for the purpose of drinking and recreational activities, the public trust doctrine also prevents private property from extending to the ocean. For more interest on the public trust doctrine, see California Lands Commission document. Keywords: property, private property rights, public trust doctrine, public property. Okay, where is it? Okay, legal education and practices, read more. Okay, that wasn't. Okay, what is a public trust? A legal principle establishing certain natural resources are preserved for public use. What is a public trust in India? Public trust set up for the benefit of general public at large. In case of a public trust, the beneficiaries are incapable of being ascertained. Okay? So it's like I told you, sometimes I look up stuff and other stuff pops up. How does it cost to, how much does it cost to get a public trust? Is a public trust good to have? A public trust in the judicial system is an important foundation for social order. Courts are there to uphold laws, settle disagreements, and make sure justice is served. For courts to work well, they need the public to trust them. Okay, what happens if you fall? Australia. Oh, okay. I used to go to museums a lot when I was a kid. I loved them. I didn't have a lot of friends because they didn't like doing what I liked doing. I used to go to all the different museums, the planetarium, the aquarium. You know, downtown Chicago had a lot of movie theaters. So there was a lot of stuff. I spent a lot of time downtown. I went there alone, but every time I got somewhere, there was like-minded people. So there may have been a ride there alone, but there I wasn't alone, and sometimes I got a ride home. Okay, let's see. What is a public trust or position? Okay, well, I think we know that. Given the public trusts are often tied to charitable schemes, while trusts may be tied to financial gains for a specific family. Nah. What is the example of a public trust position? Most of these positions include policy making or major program responsibilities, fiduciary, monetary responsibilities, law enforcement positions, public safety, and health duties. Health duties. Personal stability, guardian position. Most of these positions include policy making or major responsibilities. Law enforcement positions, public safety, and health duties. In addition, other public trust positions also involve access to or operation or control propriety systems such as financial or personal records that present a significant risk of causing damage to people, programs, or agencies. Okay. What is the information technology security responsibilities? What happens if my position includes national security, public trust, or IT security responsibilities? See, they're talking to you about all these people that are part of the public trust. You know, when you work as a public service, you're maintaining the public trust. It says so in the preamble. They must do what's in the public interest and maintain the public trust. And that's the laws, abide by the laws. And okay, okay, let's see. Public trust clearance requirement, public trust. Okay, the public trust doctrine is a legal principle holding that certain natural resources like navigable waters, waterways, and submerged lands are held in the trust by the state for the benefit of the public, ensuring its use of public for purposes. The doctrine originates from English common law and Roman law concepts and has been adopted and developed in the United States, particularly at the state level. Here's a more detailed explanation. Key aspects of the public trust doctrine states state as a trustee. As trustee, the state acts as the trustee, holding these resources for the benefit of the public. Remember, they're not allowed to sell that stuff off. All right, you know, like we're building in the Everglades. You know, you're supposed to. You know, it's the Everglades are a threat. I mean, not just from invasive species, but invasive constructions. Okay. The public trust doctrine ensures the resources are used for public purposes such as navigable commerce, fishing, recreation, ecological preservation. Limitations on private ownership. The doctrine restricts the ability of private entities to acquire exclusive control over public trust resources, preventing their privatization or use ways that harm public access or enjoyment. Evolving interpretation. The specific scopes of application of public trust doctrine vary by state and can evolve over time to address new public needs and values. Remember, it says can evolve, not devolve, evolve. So what you're witnessing right now is the de-evolution of the public trust, breaking the law. Historical roots, Roman law, English common law, adoption in the U.S., American states inherited this common law tradition, with each state having its own interpretation and applications to the doctrine. Modern applications, protecting navigable waters. The doctrine is often invoked to protect public access and the use of navigable waters for activities like boating, fishing, and swimming, preserving natural resources. It can also be used to protect natural resources like wetlands, wildlife, habitat. I wish that would stop. I gotta shut that off. Preserving natural, protect natural resources like wetlands, wildlife, habitat, and scenic areas. Addressing environmental concerns. The doctrine is increasingly be used to address environmental issues like climate change and water allocation, pushing the boundaries of previously recognized trust values. All that deregulation is what got you all this pollution. If they would have lived up to the public trust doctrine, you wouldn't be in such bad shape, would you? Having plastics in your, microplastics in your blood and whatnot. Balancing public and private interests. The doctrine requires carefully balancing of public needs and private property rights, ensuring that the public access and use are not unduly restricted by private development. Okay. Do you understand that? The doctrine requires carefully balancing of public needs and private property rights, ensuring that public access and use are not unduly restricted by private development. Okay, in essence, the public trust doctrine serves as a legal framework for protecting the public interest in vital natural resources, ensuring that these resources are managed for the benefit of current and future generations. Yeah, they're having a big problem with the water coming out of Colorado River, but it's just because everybody's breaking the law. Limiting private development. The doctrine can restrict private development on public trust lands, ensuring that public access and recreational opportunities are preserved. For instance, it can limit the conversion of waterfront area from water-dependent uses like fishing, docks, and marinas to other uses like hotels and restaurants. So yeah, putting a hotel and a restaurant, where people are used to, doing their thing. You can use a public trust doctrine. Protecting wildlife and habitat. It even says here, the Supreme Court established the basic concepts of PTD, Public Trust Doctrine, in the United States, are entrusted to the care of government. They are your trustees, to be managed in trust for the benefit of the public. The court considered the responsibility of the state as trustees under the PTT. I didn't read this. Is the first time I looked on this, but I've been saying that for years, that they are trustees, and they can't just sell off public lands for mineral rights. And I mean, literally, they're selling off your mineral rights for pennies, on a Benjamin? Nah, I don't think so. That's not. But it was quite literally breaking the law. You just didn't know that. Power of states and federal government under the PTD. In general, states are considered the primary trustees of public trust resources. Because of this, the PTD is shaped by state institutions, can vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. A few states have incorporated the PTD into their constitutions. For example, the Constitution of the state of Hawaii requires that all public natural resources are held in trust by the state for the benefit of the people. But they made it too expensive for the people to live there. So they're not abiding by the public trust doctrine. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing those people pushed out of their homes, their land, to build hotels, and you know, it's not right, and quite literally, it's not legal. Regardless how the state implements the PTD, courts will play an important role. This is to determine whether state legislature has acted according to its obligations as a trustee to maintain the public trust. Remember, I told you the legal system is part of the public trust, or public, the courts, the legal system, your governments are, they're all part of the public. They work within the public trust. Okay. In recent years, several cases have been filed in both state and federal courts arguing that the PTD requires state governments to take more action in battling climate change. Perhaps the most well-known of these cases is Juliana versus U.S. number 1836082, Ninth Circuit, 2020, was originally brought in 2015 by 21 young plaintiffs against the United States in the case that the plaintiffs argued that the federal government had violated its PTD duties. These are their constitutional duties. If you remember that video, if you watch that one. Duties by both encouraging and allowing the use of fossil fuels. In response, the government has argued that there is no federal PTD, and even if there was, it could not extend to the climate or atmosphere, while the lower court initially concluded that the plaintiffs had appropriately stated a public trust claim and could bring that argument before the court. The Ninth Court of Appeals ruled that plaintiffs did not have the appropriate standing to bring their case. However, the Ninth Court's conclusions the plaintiffs' standing was not based on PTD, but was instead based on the court's finding that the issue raised by the plaintiffs was better suited for political branches of the government to handle. Therefore, the issue was federal PTD exists and could be applied to climate change remains undecided. In the court, plaintiffs have brought many claims arguing that PTD can be expanded to address climate change. In the public interest, maintain the public trust. I told you I stole that from the preamble and the rules of professional conduct, So every lawyer took an oath to see to it. So, should there really be an argument about PTD? Legally. If you are legally, every lawyer is legally obligated to do what's the public interest and maintain the public trust, not in furtherance of the bar or self-interest. It's in the preamble, the rule of professional conduct. I don't see the argument. I just see a lot of buffoonery. Okay, let me just do this. Various agencies such as state commissions, coastal commissioners, environmental protection agencies, the EPA, or natural resources department are often taken with day-to-day management. You know what? And as public servants, they are not required to take orders from a politician or a political party. They serve the law. They serve the public interest. This is what I was wondering. What is a public trust entity? The most common public trusts are charitable trusts with holdings are intended to support religious organizations to enhance education or relieve the effects of poverty or other misfortunes. Such trusts are recognized for their beneficial social impact and given certain privileges, such as, and it says right here. So let's go what it says in here, Britannica. Okay, the most common public trusts are charitable trusts with holdings are intended to support religious organizations to enhance education, to relieve effects of poverty and other misfortunes. Such trusts are recognized for their beneficial social impact and are given certain privileges, such as tax exemptions. Other public trusts are not considered charitable and are not so privileged. These holdings include public groups such as common interests, such as a political party, a professional association, or social recreational organization. In commercial sectors, trusts have come to play important roles. Trusts may be established to manage various funds designated for special purposes by businesses and corporations. Such designations must include funds deposited against bonds issued by the company for liens on property that are being used as collateral against bonds. Money for employee pension funds or profit-sharing programs is often managed through trust arrangements, such as commercial trusts are almost always managed by corporate trustees. Some modern civil law systems, such as that of Mexico, have created an institution like a trust that has normally been done by adapting trust ideas from the Anglo-American system rather than by developing native ideas. In civil law jurisdictions, such as the purpose which an Anglo-American trust is put can achieve in other ways. For example, the charitable trust of Anglo-American law is closely with civil law foundations regarding the purposes of private express trust mentioned above. Lawyers in Europe countries get professional management from assets by turning them over to managers or are paid a fee for their services. This, however, is a greater performance. Civil law countries that Anglo-American one's administration of property, the person who owns it benefits from it. Land and economics and natural resources use production. Classical economics, these three-factor production of land, labor, capital. Land is considered to be the original and inexhaustible gift of nature. In most economics, it is broadly defined that all nature provides, including minerals, forest products, and water and land resources. While these are renewable resources, no one considers them inexhaustible. The payment to land, and called rent like land, its definition has been broadened over time to include payment to any productive resource with relatively fixed supply. Inflation refers to general increase in prices and money. Prices and more money supply, both of which can cause purchasing power currency to decline. From a customer's point of view, okay, that wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Public trust doctrine is not explicitly mentioned in the U.S. Constitution, but it's a legal concept reflected. States' constitutions are common law asserting the government holds certain natural resources and trust in the public benefit. It is rooted in Roman English common law and emphasizes the government's responsibility to manage resources like navigable waters, shorelands, and wildlife for public use and benefit. Government acts as trustees. Okay. While the healthcare system as a whole is not inherently part of the public trust, specific aspects of the institutions with it are, and the concept of public trust plays a crucial role in functioning. Public trust in healthcare encompasses the public's confidence in systems' abilities to provide safe, effective, and equitable care. I should have just asked that question a while ago instead of looking through all that. Here's a breakdown. Healthcare is a system. The healthcare system encompassing hospital, clinics, insurance companies, and government agencies is not a single entity held in the public trust. However, many of its components, particularly those involved in public health and safety, are expected to operate with the public's best interest at heart. Public trust is an institution. Public trust is essential for a smooth functioning of healthcare system. Impacts how individuals engaged in the healthcare service follow medical advice and support public health initiatives. Impact of trust: low cost or low public trust can lead to reduced vaccination rates, delayed or avoided healthcare visits, and untimely or ultimately poor health outcomes. Factors influencing the public trust. Trust in healthcare is influenced by various factors, including the perceived competence and the reliabilities of healthcare professionals, transparency, fairness of the system, perceived impact of healthcare policies on individuals and communities. Maintaining public trust. Maintaining public trust requires a commitment to transparency, accountability, of patient-centered care. Example, organizations like the public health agencies and government bodies responsible for requiring medication and medical devices are expected to operate with the public's trust best interest as primary concern. Similar, individual healthcare providers are expected to act with patients' well-being as their primary focus. People before profits, y'all. In conclusion, with all healthcare is explicitly a public trust, its functioning is heavily reliant on public trust, and specific components of the system are entrusted with the public's well-being. All in all, you trust doctors completely. Doctors are totally honest in telling their patients about all their different treatment options available for their conditions. Doctors are extremely thorough and careful. See, one side, all things considered, doctors can be trusted. Discuss all treatment options with their patients. This never happens with me. The demands of the concepts model general trust in physicians. Okay. I'm going to send this to my wall. I forgot about that. Where is it? Share. I'll edit it later. See, Table 1, used to construct general trust of physician scale and comparison with validated scales. Items for the ISSB questionnaire, items from the scale at home. But see, domains of the conceptual model of general trust in physician, global trust, honesty, competence, fidelity, honesty. You know, every day that ends, I tell myself tomorrow will always be a better day. I can do better. I mean, as a nation, we should tell ourselves that we can do better. We can expect better from judges, lawyers, doctors, politicians. You know? Okay, so public trust in physician, hospitals, public trust in healthcare. Okay, I'm gonna end that there. I think I said enough for now. I'm getting a little angry. All right, you have a good night.